Peter, James, and John are given one of the most glorious visions that Christ has ever given to mankind. It's a powerful vision. They see Jesus ablaze with God's glory. The Mount of Transfiguration. They come off that mountain of joy and peace and vision and glory, and they face a lunatic child. And there's the devil waiting for them. It's almost as if the devil looks at Peter, James, and John coming down off that mountaintop, and he said, so you, Peter, you who walk with such vision and zeal, you wanted to stay on the mountain and live in the glory, but now you've got to come down here and face the everyday problems of life. Down here, this is everyday world, and I want you to know, Peter, this is a lunatic world, and I'm in control of it. It seems to be what the devil's saying to these men, especially to Peter. He's saying, now it's heartbreak time. It's war. Now, let's see what your mountaintop experience can do down here. These disciples, apostles who just came down from the mountain, they stood there timidly by. But how do you explain these three men who just come from the glory of God, seen and talked with Moses and Elijah, listen to them speak of divine things, and now there they are, standing before the devil weak and helpless? The greater your vision of Christ and His glory, the more Satan's going to challenge you in your everyday life. The Lord called you one day, didn't He? You received a call out of lukewarmness. You received a call out of sloven Christian living. You received a call out of idolatry. The Spirit of God came to you and you heard a message and it touched your heart, and you begin to seek God. You're praying like you've never prayed, and you've seen and tasted some of the glory of the Lord, and now you're praying. You have a passion for the Lord, and everything in your life is changing. But I'll tell you something else that changes. Your everyday life is changing much also. Your job is changing. The reaction of people toward you is changing. Everything around you is changing. Because you see, now when you come down from Sunday night mountain and you go to the job on Monday, there's always some kind of commotion the devil's going to stir up for you now that wasn't stirred before. And there he is right in front of you, some kind of lunacy. I mean, a mountain of opposition, impossibilities, and even demonic activity against you. And sometimes it gets so wild and hairy, you just have to sit there and put your hands in your head and say, wait a minute, Lord, I'm still in the afterglow of Sunday night. I didn't ask for this. What's going on? Now, Satan's design in all of that is to try to convince you that Jesus is not active in your everyday life, that the glory of the mountain is not working on the job. He wants you to be convinced that you're two different people. You know, you're a Sunday person and then you're a weekly person. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You know, the Syrians said, hey, look, their God of Israel is a God of the mountains. Let's fight him in the valleys. The Lord is God of the hills, but he's not God of the valleys. He's God of Sunday, but he's not God of Monday. Monday's the valley. Oh, Monday's valley. They call it Blue Monday. Shouldn't be for Christians, but it sure is for a lot. I want you to know that you've got to understand that Jesus Christ is more than just a spiritual experience. He must be our everyday life. His life must come through on the job, at home, and everywhere. All right, look this way, please. Christ who is our life. Christ our life. I don't care how many wonderful spiritual highs you have with Jesus. I don't care if you've claimed to hear the actual voice of God speaking to you. I don't care how much revelation knowledge that you claim to have. If all of these spiritual experiences, all of these experiences in church or in secret closet of prayer, if that cannot be translated in overcoming life Monday through Saturday, it has no meaning on Sunday. It has to translate into something people can see. It has to be a witness. The world is convinced that Jesus lives only in church. They see little of his life in Christians every day. The sinner thinks of church as a place where people go to study about a historical Jesus with a bunch of historical patriarchs who God once worked for. They know all about Daniel the lion's den. They know about the 3 Hebrew children. They know about all of the flood and how God delivered Israel. They know all that. In fact, God is a God of miracles back then. The sinner preaching is just talk. That's all it is. It's talk with no meaning to this day's problems. The average person out there, they don't understand why you go to church. The sinner doesn't understand. They're convinced that the only power God has is right here within the 4 walls of this building. And that we just gather here and talk about a historical Jesus who used to perform miracles. Why is that? Because the majority of Christians are not preaching Jesus by the way they live out there. His power is not being demonstrated on the job. Paul said, I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Your life is hid with Christ, for Christ is our life. Now, what does that mean in practical words? I don't mean just religious theology. I mean in everyday life. To me, I'm seeing Christ living in me means that every day I am totally dependent on him. Christ is involved in every little detail of my life. He's involved. And he's not wanting you to just seek these various sudden blazes of glory. He wants you to live 7 days a week, every waking hour, demonstrating the glory of God, the glory of the Lord Jesus Christ.